like get closer.
Hey.
Yep, come closer. We'll
There's
just hang out.
food too.
Yeah, get some food. Food is good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always pro food. Cool. Should we start?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hi. I'm excited. I was like, maybe it'll just be a chat and we could just not have to be nervous. So thank you. So I'm Courtney. I'm the CEO here, and I'm a speech therapist. Also a mother of a child with special needs. So we're going to talk a little bit about our families and about ideas and.
Yep, I'm Felicia. I'm occupational therapist and also a mom.
Doesn't need to be a perfect holiday. It just needs to spend time together. And sometimes I have to remind myself of that.
Yeah.
I'm very much a perfectionist. So I'm like, but it's not perfect. And it's like, that's okay. One of the things that we find a lot of trouble with, at least at our house, is feeding. So picky eaters, kids that maybe don't eat turkey or don't eat mashed potatoes, or those things that you're eating Thanksgiving dinner and your child doesn't really want those things. So one thing that I always say is start with getting the wiggles out, get some exercise, get them out and about, go to the park ahead of time. And I believe wholeheartedly that pre-eating is a win. As long as they're not hungry. I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old, and my 5-year-old, the second he's hungry, behaviors go through the roof, and it just becomes like a nightmare. And so it's okay to give them a snack on the way to dinner. It's okay to, have appetizers. Adults do that too. And then bringing things that are safe for your child. Like if you're going to be going somewhere and that your child's probably going to have a hard time eating stuff, it's okay to bring those safe foods with you and to know that, they can eat things that they like. And then that makes it just that much more of a special time for the family because it's less stress for you than be like, just eat the food. Anything you want to add to that?
I think other things will come later,
Yeah,
like that weave into
sure.
that piece. So there's a sheet that you have there's the main sheet and then there's like a sensory sheet. And that's just some of the things that you might find your child, especially at this time of year, might be a little bit like not used to and not aware of. So those are kind of, that sheet's there for you to kind of just think about. It may not be relevant to all your needs, but there's new trees and new lights, and you might go to grandma's house that looks completely different, and there wasn't usually music on and the candle is burning. And so things that if you know your child's going to be upset about a loud noise or a different smell, or things that you might not think about as being like a sensory overload piece, just kind of think through what your plans are, what you're thinking about, and then that checklist, you don't have to use it like that, but it's kind of a way to move through and say like, okay, this might be different. I know that's a problem. Even just thinking about mealtime sometimes is later, and so kids are like, why is it this dark, or why is it, we're early, we're eating at 2:00 in the afternoon. So things that you might not think about, if you can kind of pre-plan, is a little bit easier. The idea of a calm kit, you probably already have stuff. This is actually the basket I use in therapy all the time. So if you come here, it's my kids' calm kit. But things like, and that's on the list, like a stuffy, like something that they can hold, their comfort item. If you haven't tried headphones, most people have tried them. They're pretty cheap. They're pretty easy to do. Their favorite book or something that they want to look at or they can read. And then I always usually have like art supplies, little fidgets, little cars, and especially around the holidays, like you don't have to buy them something new because they're probably going to get a lot of new things. So it actually would be nice for them to have, these are the things that I'm sort of familiar with. But just different ways, like there's weighted lap pads, just kind of things that you can have in your back pocket that you can pull out like on a whim and then put it on the table, or if you're traveling, they can have it in the plane or have it in the car. Can kind of be helpful.
Yeah. I think the other thing is like just being cool with your kiddos being comfortable. So if you're doing family pictures and there's something that's itchy or scratchy, you're not going to get the best thing from that. You're not going to get the best you could have gotten from that kid. And so really planning into those sorts of things as well. Like what is going to make them comfortable? What are they going to be happy doing? And I mean, one of the things I love about photography right now is that those like really cool, like it's very in to have those kind of more natural moments and people like looking at each other, not everyone smiling and staring at the camera. And so I think like embracing those sorts of things is really cool too. And just being able to say like, this is my family, like this is what my family looks like, and that's okay.
Yeah, my daughter, she's 15 and she has autism, but we were a little late in the game to figure out that she had autism. But we look back at pictures, she's always looking over here where the whole family's here, and she's like, didn't get that concept of like, she's like, I'm here. Yeah. So I think even having that piece or pajamas, like we always did it in pajamas because she can't wear certain clothing. And so, that was always our kind of go-to when she needed to have an extra comfort piece for that day. Yeah,
definitely. And that kind of flows into programs, performances, travel. So anything that's going to be new, anything, when we go on vacation, we do stuff, we watch videos about where we're going, like all of those sorts of things. If you're going to there's like Holiday Magic is coming up at the fairgrounds, and it's like, which is super cool, but it's going to be a lot. There's a lot of people, it's dark, there's flashing lights, those sorts of things, really like preparing our kids by showing them videos and looking at pictures and those sorts of things, I think make a big difference. And those are kind of the same stuff we were talking about. So I'm going to tell you a little story. So I have a quick story about my son, Noah. Noah is 9 now, and Noah has epilepsy and he has developmental delays, very autism-esque. He has a lot of trouble with a lot of sensory stuff. We had planned a trip to Disneyland, and we were so excited Disney World, because we had gone to Disneyland and it was kind of rough. But then Grandma and Grandpa wanted to go, and Auntie wanted to go, we were all going to go together. And I was like, okay, how are we going to deal with this? Because I was like, it did not go super great the first time, but he loves Disney. And so he always loved all the stuff. It was the characters, and he hated he did fine with the princesses because he could see their faces, but anything that had like a mask or anything, he really struggled with. And so we actually talked with our OT. And I was like, hey, like, this is what's coming up. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, do you have any ideas? Like, how can we help him? And she was absolutely amazing. She wrote a goal that he would be able to interact with with the costumed characters. And so she had him watching videos, and she had him seeing like how other kids interact with the characters. And like she had, I think it was 2 months worth that every week she did something else. And they even worked up to the fact where they both put on a mask, and then they like practiced. And it was so cool. And I would like to say, like, that's my favorite goal that my child has ever had, because the result of it was so positive. And we were a little lucky because it was post 2020, because the characters had to stay a little farther away. But
so cute.
I was able to text this picture to his OT, and I was like, look, we did it. No tears. He smiled. Like, we got pictures with multiple characters. This one's one of my favorites with little brother. And, you know, that's part of the cool thing about what we do here at Circle Creek too, is that we can work with you guys. Like, if there's something that you're like, I'm really worried about a 6-hour flight, like, what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? Talking with your clinicians about those things is really helpful, because we can help give you some of the ideas that we've tried, we've used, other people have tried and used. And then also doing some of those desensitization things, like watching videos and putting the mask on themselves and those sorts of things. And so I like to say, like, real goals don't have to be big goals. Mm-hmm. Like, real goals don't have to be something that's like earth shattering. It can just be that I just want a picture of him with Chip and Dale, and that's okay. And as a parent, like, that's a cool thing to be able to do, and to partner with your clinicians to do stuff like that. So just continuing to like communicate with your clinicians, and whether it's speech or OT or PT, I mean, any of the above, it's really important that, and we like helping with that stuff too. Yeah. It helps us be fun. More creative. Yeah. And we're like, how can we help with this? And gets our creative juices flowing too. So that's my little story about Noah. So, all right.
Okay, so this becomes tricky during the holidays. There's a lot of different expectations on your family to maybe stay up a little bit later. We want to wake up, they're up at 4 in the morning wanting to open up their presents, but then Auntie's coming over at 2 and we're done for the day, you know. So I think the idea here is, again, to sort of, some parents stay as close to the routine as possible and tell family, and others, you're like, it is important for me that they can wake up early and snuggle in bed and all of that. So making sure, one of the things is making sure if you have a sweet that you're having a protein. So, you know, whatever that would be for like cheese or meat or eggs, and often trying to be like, okay, eat that before you're going to have your sweet treat, or trying to pair those can really help out. Water, if your kids will tolerate that, can really help. If you haven't tried it, fizzy water or iced water can kind of make it, you can put cranberries in the water and like make it kind of festive, make them drink a little bit more. As much as you can, keep those bedtimes, you know, and that can be a trick for everybody. But, you know, however you want to do that, in terms of stories, or, you know, making sure that they're getting all their energies out in the day, which can be hard if you're busy getting presents wrapped and everything, but making sure you have those times to reset, but also grace, because it, you know, even if you don't hit your routine, just try the best you can. Yeah.
It's okay to like prioritize one of those things over the other.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. All right. I think this is one that, especially as parents, we have to remember a lot, is that the regulation of our kiddos starts with us. So noticing your own energy, stepping away before reacting, giving yourself the same grace that you're giving your kiddos. And so when things get chaotic, that makes it hard for us too as parents. And so really working, you know, with your family to say, okay, like, I need to step away for a second, or like, okay, let's go for a walk, guys, like so that we can get fresh air, so mommy can get fresh air, and kind of calm down, and kind of self-regulate ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. And if you are getting overwhelmed, that's okay. Just find a way to how you calm yourself. Makes a big difference. All right.
And I think some of these are intuitive, but just making sure that, again, like we're not losing sight of like what holidays are supposed to be, which is like us together and our families and the fun for our kids, but also for us. So it's, you know, like sometimes it's just easy just to be like, okay, if they tolerate it, like let's just do a hug. Like let's just take a second to reset. You know, if you do watch a show together, like just snuggle on the couch for a little bit, take a nap together if that helps. Some kids won't do that, but that can be helpful. And then also this idea, like we talked about with like the Disney World example, is like having these kind of stories around what is a holiday? Like, why are we doing this? Why is my whole routine messed up? Why do I feel maybe that you're a little bit dysregulated? So share your family's traditions and like, this is why we do it. And this is why it's important. This is what I did when I was a kid, or grandma or auntie or uncle, you know, whomever did it as a kid. And yeah, it's a little chaotic and it's a little weird and it's out of our normal. Because holidays for some kids can be really kind of upsetting because I have my routine. I do the same thing every day. Mm-hmm. And for you, it's like, this is such a special moment for me. And for our kids, you're like, why is this a special? This is not special at all for me. Like it's loud and I don't want to do it. So I think one way you can do that is really to, even now, to pre-explain like, okay, this is why we're doing those things. And it kind of helps you too to share like what your family's traditions are and why it's important to you guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think the other thing that gets really tricky sometimes being around family is also dealing with those family expectations and some of those trickier interactions. So instead of he must sit at the table with the family, maybe he can eat nearby. Instead of she needs to wear this outfit, she can choose something comfy. Give grandma a hug. Maybe that's not safe feeling for your child. Like it's okay to say, oh, give grandma a high five. Let's do knuckles. Just say hi, wave. I think one thing that, you know, we've heard sometimes is like, oh, he's not talking yet. Or, oh, like I thought by now. And it's okay for you to kind of hold a boundary on those sorts of things. And it's okay to say like, yep, he's making great progress. I'm really proud of him. And it doesn't need to go any farther than that. And I feel like sometimes those comments, people don't necessarily mean to be sassy or to make you feel bad about things when they say those things. But I think it's also really important for us as parents to say like, yeah, he's moving at his own pace. He's doing a great job. Like he's made a lot of progress this year. And just, you know, owning that and allowing that boundary to be there if needed. Okay. This kind of goes back to what we were just talking about.
Yeah, so this kind of weaves in kind of what we've been saying before. Just keeping in mind what's going to bring your family joy, not necessarily what people are telling you that has to happen. And even I'm a list maker, like even make a list and like cross off those things that you're like, you know what, we really don't have to do that. It's not as important to us. And then keeping in those things and creating energy towards the things that you really want to have happen for that. And I like this idea of the kindness cards. Part of what I used to do with my kids is I would have them hand make cards for relatives. And I don't mean like pretty cards. I just mean like a piece of paper with scribbles. Yeah. And then I would write their name or whatever. And they felt involved with it. And also I know at least a lot of the relatives thought that they were, you know, really sweet. So that can kind of have a way to say one nice thing about this person that you may not even remember. You know, like we can talk about them and then make them little cute cards and put them on the table or whatever.
Yeah. And I think embracing that quiet time too, and being okay with, we get a phone call from our families and like, what are we doing for Thanksgiving? What are we doing for Thanksgiving? We want to go to so-and-so's house and your mother-in-law and your sister-in-law's parents' house. And I'm like, that's going to be a lot for our family. Like, really being able to say, like, what are the simple, joyful things that we want for our family? And it's okay to not show up to every party that you're invited to, unless you want to. And then that's your priority at that point. So on the other side of your handout, we have a family calm plan, and it also has like just some other little things to think about. So, helping you kind of think through like what's tricky for us, what helps for us, what's one thing that we want to simplify this year, or what's something that's going to feel hard. Kind of thinking through each of those different things and jotting down those ideas can sometimes help you plan ahead for what comes next, and give you, kind of think through things a little bit sooner.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So our next thing is we just kind of wanted to chat about, how some of those thoughts, if that triggered anything in your head, if you're like, oh, what about this year? Or, celebrating those kind of ideas. So anything you want to share?
I think this year we are having a little bit of change. We usually celebrate with some family friends, and they've moved, so we're actually going to be a smaller gathering. So the changes on that, they're going to be anticipating a smaller group, which is good and bad. I mean, good is it'll be more controlled, but it's a change for them. I think luckily as we go through this presentation, I realize that Bryce has coped with some of these already. I wish I would have done this earlier, right, when he was younger, when there's more of these. So I'm taking some of these and trying learning, knowing that, we've done some of these, that's helped out. Some of these seem very tried and true. That's what we'll continue to focus on. I think earlier on when you talked about routine changes, we're just going to be very mindful of that, because right now there's some school challenges too with early dismissals and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Picture times are coming up. Once again, we're going to be trying to take pictures, and it's always easy to kind of get flustered when we can't take a good picture, or we have a dog too, so the same thing, right? Like the dog won't sit still either. Just wanting all of us to remember, comfort and just be together instead of having to be perfect. I think that'll be important for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just took our plan. I was going to tell you guys about the same thing with our family, close neighbor that we celebrated for 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So the kids kind of remember their Thanksgiving tradition. So it'll be different this year because it'll just be us again. So,
yeah.
Different routine. And then Bryce, I think he's adjusting or trying to adjust to this early dismissal and then missing Circle Creek, on Thursday because he's usually here on Thursday. So
Right.
that's kind of giving him that little bit of dysregulated.
Yeah.
Anxious.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do our best to close as few days as possible because we know all of our kiddos, like, they need that routine and keep it as, as consistent as possible. So we hear that a lot.
I have heard, I had a client once that made his parents drive by the clinic on the day that it was closed to prove that it was actually closed and they weren't just like pretending that it was closed. Yeah. Because they needed the routine. So they got in the car and they went and, no, it's closed. Okay, it's closed. We really don't have therapy today. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
It happens. Yeah. Yeah. No, Noah thrives on routine too. So it's tricky. Like when school is different, or early dismissals, parent-teacher conference week, and all of that, and you're just like, okay, can we just be consistent, please? But as long as we're talking our kiddos through it, and I don't know Bryce personally, but like for Noah, it really helps when we have like a schedule, like, and he can see that schedule and he can reference it whenever he wants. Like we try to either we'll draw it out, or we actually have one of those calendar things on our wall that has his schedule on it. And so then at least then we can talk about it and we can be like, remember the schedule, like let's look at the schedule again. And we find that helps a little bit, but I mean, it's going to be tricky no matter what. And I think a lot of things that we have built into this time of year, like, are not really taking into consideration some of the things that our kiddos need from, you know, different perspectives and things like that. So I think as long as we're providing as much support as possible, then they'll get through it. And that's okay too, though. And that's the other thing is, you know, some flexibility like is a good thing to teach our kids. And as long as you have the calm and regulation to support through some of those tricky times, I think then those are good learning opportunities for our kids as well. And you don't have to overhaul everything. Like it doesn't have to be something that you do entirely different this year. It can just be like, okay, this one thing. We have something different for Thanksgiving this year. Like maybe we'll do everything else mostly the same, or whatever works best for our kids. So just talking about, like we said before when I was kind of telling you my story about Noah and Disney World, like use the support system that you have and use the community that you're building. And that's one thing here at Circle Creek Therapy. It's really important to me as a parent of a child with special needs who, like, my son was here this morning for therapy. So he saw Felicia today. And so, you know, really like we're here to help support our families. And it's really important to us to have that relationship with you guys so that we can help and support. And then also just like any other families, sometimes I see parents like having conversations in the waiting room and being like, oh man, my kid did that like 10 minutes ago. Like that feels really good, I think, for a lot of families, and just, you know, knowing that there's somebody else that's also going through those similar things and you're not alone. And if you need that extra support, you know who you can call and talk to. So we're here. And if you need any other support or need any ideas, or okay, this thing is coming up, like, Felicia, what do I do? Like, what should I put in my calm kit this week? Like, that one did not work for Thanksgiving. Like, what can we do for Christmas? You know, really using our team as well as a help support you guys.
And what I've been doing a lot in therapy is actually getting the kid to find pictures on the internet of like, what I did one today of like, it was routine for, not holiday, but for a morning routine. And I actually had the child go and pick out on the internet, this is the exact picture of the food I like to eat. And this is the exact outfit that I would like to wear. And this is, so those types of things to make it as concrete as possible. Like if we're not gonna go to this house, we're going to this house, like, you know, to have it as concrete as possible. Or even a schedule for what, you know, the holidays look like. My daughter had a really hard time with, she didn't know when she was getting dysregulated, and then she would have a huge meltdown. And so having that where not only was I seeing the signs, she's older now, she's 15, but like teaching her and teaching the family, I had to teach my parents, like she's gonna be in her room, and she might be in her room all day because it's overwhelming and there's people in the house and she can't come out. And that was hard on my parents because, oh, just come give me one hug. No, she's not gonna be coming out. Like she's had her fill. We did our church services and whatever, and that's it. Like she did the thing for today. So it's better now, but I definitely when she was younger, there was a lot of tension with families, not understanding, me not understanding, oh my gosh, this is the funnest time of the year where you know, melting down. And one thing I did put on there that I wanted to mention, and this is more for gift giving, and I've heard this from other families, like it's okay if a kid opens one gift and plays with that gift for 2 or 3 days, and then the other gifts come out. There's this performative aspect of like, you gotta open everybody's gifts and everybody's gotta see you open all the things, and it kind of takes the joy when our kids are like, this is the one thing I wanted and I got it. Dad, I want you to go get the batteries right now. I want you to, I want everything to stop.
Yep.
So that I can set up this. And if you know it's a setup, like maybe have it already pre-done and set up out of the box so that they can play with it. And then be like, yeah, he's going to be over here playing. And don't worry about it, because that was another thing. I'm like, come on, you know, grandma wants to see you open this gift, you know. And they might be really vocal, because I know my daughter was, I don't like it. This is stupid, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, please don't say that to grandma.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Noah's
So,
the same way. Like, he opens, my son loves books. Like, that's his thing. And so he opens his book, and then he wants to sit there and read that book for the rest of the day. And it's, I would say last year was like the first year that I really felt like everybody was comfortable with him just doing what Noah does. And it did, like, it made it so much easier for that I didn't have to like push him to do something he wasn't ready for. And he was still opening presents a week later, like just randomly. He'd be like, oh, okay, there's more presents. Cool. Those are all mine. And we also had to talk through little brother about that. Like, no, brother did not get more presents than you. He's just way slower opening them. But, you know, sometimes that's a good learning opportunity for our other kids too. And just kind of, you know, talking through, you know, that's different for them. And, but yeah, Noah's exactly the same way. He'll sit there all day with one thing he just opened, and then he's good for the rest of the day. So
it's just like kind of nice.
Yes.
He's like,
It is kinda
I
nice.
like enjoy this. I'm
you know
satisfied.
he really likes what you got
Yes,
him.
yes.
Yes. My parents decided this year that, because we've talked a lot about the fact that he does that, and that my children don't need more toys. And so this year my parents were like, hey, like, what if we all go on vacation together? And I was like, that is an amazing idea. Like, that's such a great memory building opportunity for us. And then it's not awkward. Like, then it's not like, oh, hurry up and open this giant pile of presents. Like, and so we'll see how it goes. We haven't gone yet. But I was like, it's a cool idea. I'm really pro that idea. So yeah. Cool. You guys have any questions for us? No.
Really, it's all that you talk about. It's just great, like, reassurance that we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah. You're doing the things that are right for your kids, and that's okay. Yeah.
Just knowing that, you know, these things happen and we're human.
Mm-hmm.
We're working through these too. And
Yeah.
so share a story really connects everyone. And I think one of the biggest things I'm really trying to learn is just be a lot more compassionate, right? And it still takes a while for me personally to learn and help and even cope on that instance, right? So doing whatever I can, picking up whatever I can learn tidbits here and there, just to, even though I don't think my daughter's on anything like that, but you know, I think that's what any kid needs support on. So.
Yes, definitely. I don't always say, like, this is what I do for a living, and I still struggle with
Yeah,
this
oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So, like, this is not, you know, we're here to, like, give ideas that have worked for us or that we're trying to do ourselves. And so whatever we can do to help support you guys, like, we're here. Because, yeah, there's times that I'm just like, just eat the turkey. And it's hard. It's hard because you're just like, this is how it's supposed to be. Why aren't you doing it the way it's supposed to be? And so being able to step back, you know, I say things to my kids I would never say to my patients, like 100%. Like, so, you know, just learning that as a parent, that's entirely different. And you have to apply it in a different way. And that's okay to go in baby steps. And I think that's kind of was our goal today, was to really reassure you guys that you're doing the right things. Like, you are making some of these steps, and if we can give you a few more ideas to try, great, but really knowing that, like, the things that you're doing are the right things, and there is no wrong way to handle this.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.